Hey everyone, Fox Sky Flyer here. Haven't done a video in a long time, so I thought I'd quick do one. I just purchased the Inductrix FPV Pro. Yeah, I'm not sure how good that's going to hold up at Hobbytown, USA. Got it for the great low price of $99.99, and you can too. Anyway, this is it here. I put the blue canopy on right away, just makes it a little easier to see. And also, I took the stock four-bladed props off, the four-blade black props, and I put blue ones on, but they're kind of clear. But I think it just looks a little cooler. You really can't see it, obviously, when it's flying. It just looks like they're clear. But anyway, the reason for the video is because I have a DX8, which I ended up calling Spektrum yesterday, or Horizon Hobbies, Spektrum basically, and find out why I could not bind this thing. I spent probably a good hour and a half, and then finally I decided, you know, I'm getting sick of this. And it says in the manual that if it smells like the board is burnt, then obviously you need a new board. And I just bought it, so I thought I'll call Horizon Hobby and find out what's going on here. So I ended up calling them, and I talked to one of their techs, and probably within 5 minutes had it going. I could bind it all day long, but I could not get the motors to arm and fly it. But now I've put about 4 batteries through it. It's actually kind of fun. I had a Pico QX right now, but I'm finding out the motors in here, they just pop into the arms right there, which is like the protectors. But they're real sloppy, and so as you're flying, and I watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and you're flying, and the motors will just they just vibrate all over on a 360-degree axis. So what I did is I kind of super glued the legs into place, and like a retard, I kind of super glued the motors. So I went on eBay and I found some motors. So I only did one, and I got the other ones cleaned up right away. But one, I was trying to get it cleaned up, and I pulled the wires right off of it. So my bad. But now at least the legs are tight. I know it's going to fly straight. I ain't going to have no wandering issues. So the motor is going to be sitting right here, and it'll just vibrate and just kind of go this way. Next thing you know, it's pulling the quad this way, and it'll loosen, and it'll pull it this way or forward and back, whatever. Anyway, that said, so I'll get a new one of those. It was like $11. I bought it off of eBay. But anyway, the reason for the video is to show you how to take the DX8 first generation. So apparently I have a 4-year-old ancient unit here, but it works great for all my flying stuff, my wings and all my planes there. And as you can see, I like flying blue foam, and I've got the, you know, that whatever. I gotta figure out what's wrong with the tranny. I had a few back up in there, a little jet upside down, and my hexacopter, the simple copter, a wing there, and a 180, was a Sonic 185. We got a multiplex back in there, the good old Harbor Freight things that I've never flown. And my favorite, which is I've had for about 4 years, 5 years now. I can't even remember what it's called. I'm too scared to fly it. But anyway, because it's balsa and covering, but I will one of these days. But anyway, what you do to make the DX8 first generation bind to the Pro, what is this stuff? Inductrix. There we go. I had to think what I did. I bought it yesterday and I can't remember what it is. And I wanted it because I do have the Fat Shark attitudes, and I wanted to fly it with FPV, stuff like this. And they're racing them here, so I'll get good at that, and maybe I'll go join the races. But what you have to do to make this bind to this is just typical. You plug this in first, and then you hold the bind button in and turn this unit on, and this will find that not a problem. I could find that all day long. So I'm going to sit down here. So what you have to do, and in the instructions here, you know, the destructions, they tell you that the throttle, and I can't focus on there because this camera has no focus, but the switch, all the switches have to be inhibited. It tells you switch 1, switch 2, but it's not very clear. But the servo setups, you have to have the throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, gear, and aux 1. The throttle, you have to change the throttle to 150 and 150. So you have to up your range on that. The ailerons, both 148. Elevator, 148 and 148. The rudder, 148 and 48, which is low and high. And then the gear and the aux is just 100 and 100. And none of the servos or the controller are reversed. They're all normal. However, the big problem here is it does tell you that motor arm switch is switch H, as in Henry. The H switch is actually your mix switch back here, which is the back one. You can't find that anywhere, but I did see a video and stuff, so I did find out that that is switch H. So, what you have to do to arm this, obviously, I've already got it bind, so I'm not going to go through that process again. But what you're going to do is you're going to turn this on and let it boot up. And then you're going to go into the setup, the servo setup, and you can see throttles 150, 150. And the aileron is 148. I'm going to go back to there. The elevator is 148 and 48. The rudder is 148 and 48. And then the gear and the aux are at 100% each. Okay? So with that, that's what you need to do for that. That's self-explanatory in the destruction. What you also have to do here is now you got to turn this off, then hold the two switches down because you got to get into the mode for calibrating everything for the inputs and all this stuff. So then what you do is you go into the model select. That has to be the airplane mode, which is the acro. I cannot change the picture like some videos show you. This is obviously the oldest version that's out there. The model type, still an airplane. The model name, whatever you want. The wing type I left alone. The switch select is where Horizon Hobby, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was very helpful. You go into switch select. Everything here, which is the switch select, everything inhibit. Inhibit everything. Everything all the way down to the knob, which is this knob here. Leave that at inhibit it. Everything it is inhibit. The only thing you're going to make is the F switch. And the scratch is actually, I still have that protective plastic on here. I have never taken it off between here and here and here. We're up on both of those there and here. So the scratch is really not in my screen. It's in the protective glass here. But the F mode, change that to gear. And then the mix 1, change that to aux 1. Everything else is inhibited. Now again, the switch select, change the F mode to gear. The aux 2 to inhibit, the mix to aux 1. So those are the only two that are active in this whole switch. After that, hit your back, and your back, it'll come back to the screen. It still says an airplane, but again, on this unit, I cannot change that to look like a quad. I could care less. As long as I got the Inductrix up there and I know what it is, that's fine. Now, when you plug this in, which I gotta put this down, I'll turn the radio on. Radio's on. I'm gonna turn it off just to make sure everything's binding good. Turn that on. And then turn and plug this in. And you'll see it does blink. Now all lights are on. Now, it will not do anything. It won't arm. You can down, left, down, right, do whatever it's not going to arm. Again, you take the switch back here and you can see the light. Don't do nothing, but it does work. So it does work. And now to disarm it, I think you do that. Nope. To disarm it, just pull it forward so it won't work. And flip it forward again. Now you can see it's pretty quiet. I put the just for grins, I put the original 4 blades on there, which it comes with, and they actually vibrated. It sounded like plastic on plastic vibrating, just drive you nuts. It's like I didn't even get it off the ground. I went from the ground to about this high, brought it back down. That's enough of those. I put these back right back on it, and I'll run the 3 blades. I don't care if they're less efficient, which actually they should be more efficient because there's only 3 blades instead of 4. But other than that, this is my air quote, unquote, short video on how to set up the old DX8, which again, it's only like 4 years old, but apparently it's old. But I'm not going to change it because for what I fly, it flies this great. And actually, I do have the my tricopter. That's in the box, buried. That's my probably one of the favorite things to fly. Other than I do have this is my battery box. I do have my multi-rotor Mania. I think this is a 250, which I just ordered a Real RC, Real ACC, whatever you want to call it, a 210. So obviously that's coming from Egypt or wherever that's coming from. So I won't see that thing until the new year of 2018. So I won't get that till for another 2 weeks probably. But anyway, any questions? Let me know. I probably ain't got any better answers than what I just told you. But other than that, hopefully video found somebody can make this useful. And this is actually kind of fun. Oh, by the way, I forgot. The mode switch is actually, you want that on 0. That's 0 and then 1 and 2. 0 is like a fail-safe, not a fail-safe, but it's self-level. It's not a snap back. It's more of a it'll come back for you. So it'll self-level it for you. With that, mode 1. So when you put it in 1, and it tells you in the instructions here, mode 1 will actually have the motors run all the time. It's not enough to make it fly all the time, but it's why it's running all the time, I don't know. But they just run. And then mode 2, which is all the way forward, or towards you, the flyer, it's actually no self-level, it's all you. It's everything. And being such a small little craft, I mean, you can see my Symbolcopter back there and my hexacopter, and then in the black box I've got my tricopter, which I love flying. I actually put a lot of that's actually my my logo. I think that's my logo where you see the sunset, where the tricopter. That's my wife took that picture. Actually, that was pretty cool. That was like my 2nd year flying, I think it was. But anyway, I like flying that. But mode 1, again, mode 0 is with the self-level. Mode 1, the motors just turn. To me, it's just useless. I don't understand why they do that. And then mode 2, which is all the way forward, that is total acro mode. And if you go too far, I think you can flip it. I've never flipped. I've never been trained. I've learned everything I fly. I've learned all by my own, or flying off of YouTube, watching videos. With that, I'm blabbing now, so my short video is not so much short anymore. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to go fly this, because I got 2 batteries that are charged, other than this one probably being dead now from sitting. So any questions, let me know. Otherwise, Hawkseye Flyer out. See ya!